Everyone, my name is Ana Martha Ayala, and I'd like to welcome you to my YouTube channel. As a reminder, I do every video in English and Spanish, and the degree theory is based on modern Western astrology using the Placidus House system. In today's video, we need to talk about July of 2026. We start off the month, Mercury being retrograde. And the month of July looks like it's going to be difficult. I hope that this is not the case, but we have a lot of aspects to Mars, to Uranus, to Pluto, and also the United States solar return doesn't look the best. I did a separate video on the solar return and also on the solar return for the US and also for President Trump and what we could expect this year for him. Now, this month, July 2026, can be just as intense as February. And if you guys remember, February had the start of the Iran conflict, which was the Mars square Uranus. So let's begin. July 3rd starts with Mars conjunct Uranus at 4 degrees in Gemini. Now, conjunctions are neither good or bad. It depends on the planets that are in the conjunction. And obviously, Mars and Uranus can be explosive and, shocking. Let's put it that way. Now, if we go back in history, Mars conjunct Uranus was present when Hiroshima and Nagasaki happened. The American Civil War also had this conjunction. So, as you can tell, historically, right, we could see a major attack, Ukraine, because that war is still going on in Gaza. Obviously, I think the Iran conflict is the one that's going to pick up again because Israel just won't let up. Like I've said before, Israel is using the United States for its own purposes. Why? I am not sure why the US is playing this weird thing that's happening with Israel. But like Vice President Vance said, it's American weapons, our US taxpayer money that is being used for Israel. And Netanyahu has the gall to say that Israel's goals haven't been met. You know what? That's Israel's problem. It's not the US problem. Um, this is why, to me, the most dangerous country in the Middle East is Israel. They have nuclear weapons. They didn't sign the accord not to use those nuclear weapons. So, with an aspect like this, it's easy for Israel to launch a nuclear bomb against Iran or or even like more warlike behavior in Lebanon, right? They continue, Israel continues to attack Lebanon. If this happens, I think the price of oil will increase dramatically. Because remember, I said that Jupiter in Leo will be trining Neptune in Aries. And anything that Jupiter touches, it increases. Now, Neptune rules oil. So it can either bring the price of oil up, which is what I think will happen, or the supply of oil. So I'm filming this on June 24th. So as it stands right now, the Strait of Hormuz is open, but you know, this changes on a daily basis. Um, and all of this, this aspect happens right before the 250th birthday of the United States. So this is very unpredictable warlike behavior on a mundane level. On a lighter note, if you can call it lighter, there could be a major explosion, a huge earthquake, one of those uncontrolled fires, right? Because Mars rules fires on thousands and thousands of acres. There can be a terrorist attack here in the US because in the solar return for the US, it indicated Mars and Uranus in the 12th house. So on a personal level, you never know what Uranus is going to do because it's unpredictable. Things that happen that give you the shock and awe, right? So on a personal note, okay, for July 3rd, be careful, be very deliberate when you communicate because Mars conjunct Uranus is in Gemini. So be careful with the way you communicate personally via email, anything that's written, try to be very diplomatic because Mars is the planet of war and it can make your speech very blunt, very assertive, and even aggressive. And it's especially true for those people that have planets at 4 degrees, plus or minus 3 degrees. So from 1 to 7 degrees. If you have planets in Gemini, Sagittarius, Virgo, and Pisces, basically the mutable signs. Also, if this aspect, the Mars conjunct Uranus, in your own natal chart, makes aspects to Mercury, be careful with car accidents, especially near your home. 4 degrees is the degree of Cancer. That's why I'm saying near your home. Now, on July 4th, it's Independence Day for the United States. We have Mars sextile Neptune in Gemini. Um, so remember, Mars is in Gemini and Neptune is in Aries at 4 degrees. Um, so the energy from July 3rd carries over, right? It's going to be hanging around for a little bit because Mars stays in a degree maybe 2, 3 days, something like that. So over this weekend, because July 4th is a Saturday. Um, but with that sextile to Neptune, maybe there could be some positive stuff happening, like you can express yourself very creatively, artistically. Note that if you are going to a 4th of July celebration, um, make sure that you take the necessary precautions because there could be a terrorist attack. And again, I don't mean to sound negative. I wish that I could give you guys, happy-go-lucky information, right? That everything is beautiful and wonderful, but the next 6 months up until the end of the year is going to be rough. It's not going to be easy. Some months are going to be more difficult than others, and July is one of them. All right, July 5th, Mars is in Gemini and trines Pluto retrograde in Aquarius at 5 degrees. So, on a personal note, this gives you a lot of passion and motivation to succeed. On a mundane level, this can be quite challenging. Let's hope that it's used for good. I know it's a trine, right? So, it is the most benefic aspect in astrology, but it depends on what you use it for, right? Mars is war, Pluto is total destruction. And the trine says, this means there's a really good opportunity. The flow of the energy is good. Everything should be easy. So let's hope again that it's used on a constructive and positive level. On July 6th, the sun is in Cancer and it squares Saturn in Aries at 14 degrees. So this is another difficult day. And another difficult aspect, the amount of responsibilities that you have may become like a really big burden, right? So ask for help. Try and get whoever you can. It doesn't matter, your neighbor, your sibling, a friend, your parents. And because it's Cancer, the sun is in Cancer, we can be talking about family. And it squares Saturn, so it can also be talking about work, right? Career. July 7th, Neptune turns retrograde at 4 degrees of Aries, and it will go direct on December 12th at 2 degrees of Aries. So again, if you have planets between 2 and 4 degrees of Aries, Libra, Capricorn, and Cancer, then this Neptune, and especially like your angles, house, the first house, the fourth house, the seventh house, and the 10th house, This can apply to you. Now, Neptune, is a dreamy planet. It depends on how it's communicating in your personal chart. July 9th, Venus enters Virgo. So this benefits the earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. So Venus is going to make you look more handsome. It's going to make you look prettier, So if you're single, this helps the earth signs. And also the water signs to a lesser degree because it's a sextile, right? July 12th, Sun in Cancer conjuncts Mercury retrograde at 21 degrees. So, Sun in Cancer, you can use this day to speak with your family, or maybe you start reminiscing about family memories. You can also start planning something with your family or your physical home. But remember, Mercury is retrograde by now. So whatever you're going to do, if you're going to remodel your home, start it after Mercury goes direct. On July 13th, Venus squares Uranus. So Venus in Virgo is squaring Uranus in Gemini at 4 degrees. If you are single and you meet someone on this day, chances are it won't lead to a long-term relationship. I have only seen one relationship that has lasted with this, that they met under Uranus square Venus, and the guy was Aquarius. So I think maybe that's why, it's lasted. Um, so this aspect, you can use it just for, dating, having fun, going out. Um, if you are already in a committed relationship or you have a partner or you're seriously dating someone, so then something sudden can happen. Okay. Hopefully it's a nice surprise. Okay, let's think positive, right? Even though it's a square. On July 14th, we have a new moon in Cancer at 22 degrees. This new moon is squared by Saturn, so this brings a lot of work. And it can be a new moon that drains you because Saturn is there. Um, it's in Cancer, so be careful with your emotions on this day. Saturn always can bring sad and depressing feelings because it's the moon. However, Jupiter and Pluto are close by, so it can give you lots of ambition to accomplish, whatever opportunities Jupiter sends your way. Um, Also, Mercury joins the sun, so it can bring a lot of ideas, I mean, solutions to ideas that you have, right? Or that come up. July 18th, we have Uranus trining Pluto retrograde in Gemini, 5 degrees. So this is going to happen 5 times from today through May of 2028. And the last time we had this happen back in 1921 through 1922, which brought the rise of Hitler, Mussolini, communism, and fascism. So this transit is more of a mundane level or like a generational thing, but it can be, let's see what happens. All right. That's the only thing I'm going to say. July 20th, Jupiter trines Neptune retrograde. So Jupiter by July 20th is now in Leo and Neptune is in Aries at 4 degrees. So this may make you more compassionate about people that have less, and you're more inclined to be charitable because Neptune rules charity, being that, what do you call it? Unconditional love, right? On July 20th, we also have Jupiter opposing Pluto retrograde. Again, Jupiter in Leo, Pluto in Aquarius at 4 degrees, and this is the millionaire's aspects. So, on a mundane level, something big can happen financially speaking, right? Because it's an opposition. If you, on a personal level, are invested in the stock market, I would be very careful with this Jupiter opposing Pluto. We could see a market correction. On July 22, the sun enters Leo. So happy birthday to all the Leos out there. I wish you have a wonderful solar return. Okay. Lots of health, love, happiness, money too, because that always helps. Um, Many blessings to you. July 23rd, Mercury goes direct in Cancer at 16 degrees. So remember that it will station on this degree for a few days. So take advantage of it, right? You should never start or end a trip when Mercury is stationing, because that's when all the flight delays, the flight cancellations, stuff like that happens. July 26th, the Sun opposes Pluto retrograde. So the Sun is going to be in Leo and Pluto is retrograde in Aquarius at 4 degrees. This is not a good day to ask anything from a VIP, no heated discussions with somebody in power. Obviously, don't ask for a raise, right? And try not to have any job interviews on this day because the energy is not all that great. On this day, July 26th, we also have Saturn going retrograde at 14 degrees. So it will station at 14 degrees um, actually from June 28th through August 25th. All right. July 28th through August 25th. This is when Saturn goes retrograde, and it will go to direct at 7 degrees of Aries. So it will station at 7 degrees from December 3rd to December 19th. So make a note. Um, it will station at 14 degrees from July 28th, um, June 28th, I'm sorry. June 28th is when it stations at 14 degrees through August 25th. All right. So that's the period of the stationing at 14 degrees. So for those of you that are going through your second or a Saturn return, and you have it at 14 degrees, good luck, because this period can make you very sad. It can make you very melancholy. Lessons can come your way big time. So know that it's not going to last forever, right? So you just muddle through as best as you can. Also, on July 26th, we have the lunar nodes ingressing into the Aquarius Leo axis. I will do a separate video on this later in July. On July 27th, the Sun trines Neptune retrograde. So the Sun is in Leo, Neptune is in Aries retrograde at 4 degrees. So we have big dreams, artistic pursuits. The imagination can run wild, right? But with creativity, things that just ideas. Make sure that you write down all of those ideas so that way you can make a note and start pursuing them one by one. And then we end the month on July 29th with a full moon in Aquarius at 7 degrees, which should be a very nice day. We may have some good news come our way. It's also the luckiest day of the year because the sun is conjunct Jupiter at 6 degrees of Leo. So it's great for the arts. It's a great time to have fun. Go out and play, make it a fun day. Make it a fun full moon with friends, Aquarius. So eh, with this, I conclude the video. I wish and I hope that this month of July is not as difficult as I think it's going to be. So take note of everything that I said, especially if you have 4 degrees in your chart. That 4 degrees is coming up consistently, okay? And as always, thank you for watching the video. If you have found it useful, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and send it to someone else that it may help. If you would like a chart reading with me, please send me an email to AMAastrology. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.